Hello, thank you for joining me for today's video. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia. This is the card that we're going to make today. It may look a little bit plain on the outside, but the magic happens when you open it up. You've got that fun pop out that's going to come through. All the measurements for this card are on my blog, traceofcreativity.com. I will put the direct blog link in the description of the video, so you can pick it up from there and you'll get all the extra information that you need. Now, the products that we're using for today are the Flowering Tulip stamp set, and we're going to be using the tulips dies. We're just going to use a few of the dies. We're using that one, which makes the bud, that little one for the inside, and then I'm using the smaller leaf and the stem. We've also got the Jar of Flowers stamp set and the coordinating jar punch. I'm using the Flowering Fields DSP, but this time I'm going to use a different sheet of paper. So we're going to use that one. I'm using Calypso Coral and our black Memento ink. And we're going to need a little piece of vellum. Let's get started. I'm going to pull this in just so that you can see the stamping. The first thing that I'm going to do is stamp the jar onto the vellum. The reason that I'm doing this first is because the vellum isn't porous like paper. The ink actually needs a bit of time to dry. You can stamp it with StazOn, but I'm just using the Memento. While we're busy doing our folding and scoring, I'm going to put that aside to dry. Then I have my half sheet of cardstock, and we're going to score that at 10.5 centimeters and 14.9 centimeters. If you're working in inches, it would be 4 inches and 5.5 inches. Then we're going to fold that in half down the middle, and that one's going to fold back. Now what I'm going to do is glue that bit down over there. So we want that stuck down. And I'm going to put that piece aside as well. Now we're going to take our piece of DSP for the inside. If you're working in Imperial, you can just use 6 by 6 inches. For metric, I've cut this down, so it's 14.6 by 14.6. And we're going to score it at 7.3. on both sides. If you're working in Imperial, that would be at your 3 inches. And then we're going to score across from corner to corner just on one of the diagonals. Now I'm going to have that as my inside piece. Well, when I say my inside piece, the piece that's going to pop up. So fold along those score lines. And then these 2 diagonal pieces, I'm going to fold the other way. So that it's going to fold in like that into a little square and give those creases a good press with the bone folder. Now we can start assembling the front of the card. This piece I'm going to have with my tulips up, and I have used the front and the back of the same sheet of paper, but you can choose whichever pieces you like. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same sheet. Now when we're putting this inside, we want those pieces to pop up the top and bottom. So we're going to position that like that, and it should fit exactly point to point. I like putting glue on one side first, and then once I've got that positioned, put it on the other side. But if you're brave enough, you could put glue on both sides. And it's not going to make a big difference, but just maybe we want our tulips facing that way. There we go. And just close our card. And it's going to open up like that, exactly what we want. Okay, let's get to decorating. Firstly, I'm going to stamp my pieces for the inside. Here I used two different colors, but what I'm going to do with this one is just use Calypso Coral, and I'm going to stamp it off to get the lighter shade. This is the one that's the highlight one, so that's going to be our darker one. So we're going to stamp one down here, and then another one up there. This is the one that's going to fill in, so I'm going to stamp off. And then stamp over, and again stamp off. Sentiment in black. So we've got the "No one deserves a happier birthday than you." I think that this card could be really nice as a Mother's Day card as well. And you do have that Mother's Day greeting or sentiment in the stamp set as well. And we need our tiny little black stamens in the middle. And then on my other one, I'm going to use the more closed tulip. So we've got one in each corner. And I'm using this almost bud one to go over the top there. Right, so that's all our stamping done. And what I've done is I've assembled 2 of the tulips so that you didn't have to watch me doing them 3 times, but I've kept one to show you how I did it. With my sponge dauber, I'm sponging around the outside of the tulip, so this is going to give me that definition on my petals. I don't know whether there is a specific right side or wrong side, but I take it that this bumpy bit there is going to be the top of that tulip. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of ink on the inside at the bottom over here, because you are going to see a little bit of that coming through. Right, so now I'm taking this little petal and I'm going to stick it inside there with it poking up a little bit. And then this has got score lines, so we're going to fold both of those in. A little bit of glue to hold it. And there we have our tulips. Now I have stamped 3 of the smaller leaves and I've die cut them, and I've cut 3 stems. Now the stem die is quite long. I know that I'm not going to need the whole length of it, so I haven't cut the full length. You could just cut them in half. We want you to stick. And I'm going to stick my stems onto the back of my tulip buds. Right, now we can stick our little pieces inside the card. And now we need to decorate the front. My ink has dried. I can punch out my jar. Now, when I'm positioning my flowers, my jar is going to go right at the bottom of the DSP. If that's going there, I want the leaves coming up. Okay, we want to keep the leaves within the jar, so we don't want them to be going too far over. That should be fine. And then I'm going to stick one flower flat that's going to be behind. And the other two I'm going to pop onto dimensionals. And just a teeny bit of glue behind the stems. And our jar is going to go over. I'm going to put a stripe of Stampin' Seal behind the vellum. It will stick that down and it doesn't show through. Now we want that to go under there. I've got a bow in the white crinkled seam binding ribbon, and we'll just pop a glue dot behind that to hold it in place. And I've got some of my ink coloured jewels, which I'm going to add just for a little bit of sparkle. There's our card in the two different colours, and of course the fun part is the inside. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy making these cards. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll get a notification every time I post a new video. Until the next time, happy crafting. Bye.